As a journalist who's been practicing it for the last 7+ years, I can tell you it takes blood, sweat, heart, tears. It might even cost you your own soul for you to get a talk show on any of the platform. But sometimes when you have a voice and you have a name, and the media, say that media franchise or that broadcaster wants to make use of you, they just give you a talk show. So they give you your own space. But what usually happens as a result is toxicity comes into play. Sometimes just being extremely controlled, like you don't call the shots anymore, and yet it's your show with your name on it. And that's when you realize that after some time you start hearing stories of work toxicity, toxicity in the workspaces, people ranting, people being mean, and then it escalates to mental health issues, and then you hear it has developed into an avalanche of sexual harassment. All those things happen in the broadcast space. And for Sherri Shepherd, it's really interesting. She had a sit down with Tamsen Fadal, I believe, and she was actually explaining what it took for her to get a talk show. She said she had done so many pilots with Nick Cannon, with Nicki Nash, done guest hosting, gone on to Dish Nation, sat in for Wendy. She filled in for Wendy Williams, and she was pitching literally each and every executive producer in Hollywood, as well as using her managers to get her name out there. Because Sherri Shepherd, I'd say, despite the fact that she's a woman, I have to recognize that, and she's black, I'm 1,000% sure she has conquered a lot of obstacles in her career to be where she is right there with her show, with her name on it. It takes more than blood, sweat, and tears for you to get there. And there's a place where she says she had done so many pilots that she was so tired. She was pitching it. She pitched it to Debmar-Mercury, who are the former executive producers of the Wendy Williams show. She had done a pilot with Nick Cannon, and apparently all the people she was with ended up getting talk shows but her. So she was so heartbroken, disappointed, and it was so painful that she decided to shelve the vision and the dream of maybe her someday getting a talk show with her name on it. But after some time, she ended up getting the show, and she performed well as a standalone while she was filling in for Wendy Williams, when just before the Wendy Williams entirely got off the airwaves. And then before that, the Ellen DeGeneres show had gotten off the airwaves as well. So she thought that maybe it would be easier. And at some point in the sit down, if you've watched the interview with Tamsen Fadal, she talks about pitching herself to one of the executive producers who told her she calls the shot in that broadcast company, but they ended up not calling her. She pitched the idea and the demo to somebody else, and they just shoved and flinched her off, and she was so heartbroken. And I can definitely absolutely feel the depth of that pain, because as a person as well who's practicing as a radio presenter, as a morning show TV presenter right here in my country, I can tell you it takes a lot for you to have your show with your name on it. And for such a cutthroat and a super performative and competitive industry like the United States, the American media industry, it takes a lot. Before your show goes into syndication, it takes months of production and developing a talk show, the agenda of the talk show. So what people don't understand is you can have a show with your name on it, but you don't call the shot. You don't call the shots. The executive producers call the shots. And that's why the day they feel like they're so sick and tired of you and you're not meeting the objectives and the targets of the controllers of that production, they yank you off the air. And that's why you see there's so many people who had talk shows, but right now they're broke down, nobody remembers them. Before your show receives national syndication, where it goes live in Los Angeles, in Miami, and California, in San Francisco, you must have paid the price, even if it has to cost you your soul sometimes. And that's why the shows like the Jennifer Hudson show, she doesn't have any history of being a broadcaster, never done a podcast. But look, the agenda is we want you there because we know what we benefit and what we reap off by you being there. And shockingly, the Jennifer Hudson show is the most promoted talk show in the United States, with most numbers, some of them doctored and manufactured. The most awards are to the Jennifer Hudson show. The Kelly Clarkson show is a good show. It's warmer, conversational. She's beautiful. She's amazing. The Drew Barrymore show. Look, well curated. The other side as well, the Tamron Hall show, she's iconic, legendary, she's avant-garde, she's a journalist, she has experience of being a broadcaster. It's not the most streamed and watched show. The Sherri Shepherd show is not the most streamed and watched show. So you can have your talk show with your name on it, but you don't call the shots. And in fact, Sherri Shepherd is not the most paid in that show. Is the executive producer. So the day they feel like you're not achieving what they want, they'll put scandals on you. They'll say you are toxic. They say the show doesn't meet the objectives, or the house style. The house style is the modus operandi. It's literally the format, the editorial choices, the editorial decisions, and even the direction of the production in terms of the graphics, lighting. The Sherri Shepherd has the most beautiful, I'd say, stage production in terms of lighting, graphics, color themes, and infographics and everything. Like the Sherri Shepherd show is way up there. But sometimes the content is not that avant-garde, but she's doing her very best despite the fact that she comes from the comic space. So I feel like she deserves it. And despite the fact that she's black, it's a big win to just women and black people at large. So the Karamo Brown show is also doing well. So I think we need more talk shows for black people so that we continue promoting black. It looks like BET is not, somebody said they want to sell the franchise, and it's interesting because it's coming at a time when the Donald Trump's regime is not so supportive of black people. Now there's some sort of like a mass exodus thing happening. So all we can say is we wish Sherri Shepherd the very best. I hear word on the cab has it that John Marie's trying to come for her and is revenging. So we can't wait to see how that drama unfolds, but we can't wait to have more black talk shows for black people. And I know someday I might end up getting my own talk show, so fingers crossed and on God.